Very much. As we've been following, the officer at the center of the Eric Garner chokehold case has been fired from the NYPD. Police Commissioner James O'Neill praised former Detective Daniel Pantaleo for the work on the force, but ultimately chose to follow the recommendation of the NYPD administrative judge to terminate him. Joining us now to discuss all this is CBSN's urban affairs expert, Mark Peters. Mark, welcome back. First of all, Mark, there's a lot of fire going back and forth on what may be considered the political level. Pat Lynch, the head of the PBA, came out very forcefully against what the commissioner did. What's the result of this fallout? What could happen?
Well, he did come out very forcefully. I mean, he crept right up to saying there's going to be a work slowdown. If you read the message he sent out to his members, it doesn't use the word slowdown, but it comes as close to that as you can possibly get without using the word. And he doesn't use the word because technically it is illegal to call for a work slowdown. But this is some of the most stringent language I've seen from a PBA leader in a long time. And it's obviously concerning. And
it's concerning because of the climate it may create, because of what the reaction time may possibly be on cases. There's a lot of other things going on in this case. We've talked about the ins and outs and why it's been such a flashpoint here in this city. What about the other officers that were involved in this arrest? We haven't heard much about them.
Right. Well, that's a really good point. And in fact, the decision that we finally got to see today actually says that the administrative judge, not only did she find that Pantaleo was untruthful, but she also found that the other officers' testimony was unreliable. And perhaps even more troubling, what we've now learned, is that the officer, Pantaleo's partner, who filed the arrest form on Eric Garner, the partner, there's a box on the form that says, was force used? And the partner checked the box no, meaning no force was used. And so that's clearly a false form and a false filing, and it raises the question of whether the NYPD is going to have to think about discipline for this other officer who clearly filed a false form on this very volatile arrest.
We've heard from the family, we've heard from all sides in this case how unfair it was that this took 5 years or more to adjudicate, right? Why were there so many delays in this case?
That's a really good question, and I think it's sort of the central question that as things go on, we're going to have to start answering. To begin with, we know now that IAB, Internal Affairs Bureau, they finished their work in early 2015 and recommended charges. So we still don't have a good answer as to why the NYPD then took from early 2015 until mid-2018 to actually prefer charges. Now, they've said, well, this is because the Justice Department asked us to hold off. And for a little bit of time, that makes sense. But there's really no good reason to have waited this long, and the request that we've seen from the Justice Department dates to 2015, so it does not explain why the mayor wouldn't have gone to the Justice Department in 2016, 2017, and said, look, I'm only giving you another 3 months, and then I have to go forward.
Both sides in this case are very heated in their analysis of what happened. Is that because this was such, I'm not going to say close call, but he puts his arm around him? You have to look at the tape very carefully to come up with an answer and a conclusion. Why is it? Is it because of the nature of the contact, that there was a videotape that made this case so incendiary?
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons why this case has gotten the attention that it does, not the least of which is we have a videotape of a person dying, being killed by the actions of a police officer. I don't think, if you read the full 46-page decision of the administrative trial judge, and it's a very thorough, dispassionate, well-reasoned decision, there's really no doubt about the need to fire Officer Pantaleo. I think what's causing, and you saw, Commissioner O'Neill's reaction, and he was clearly really
he was pained. He said he'd feel just as upset as the cops are feeling about him.
He was pained. So I think that what you're seeing there is any police officer, being a police officer is one of the hardest jobs in the world, and the number of things that can go wrong every day are huge. And so I think what you're seeing is a police officer, any police officer thinking, that could have been me. In fact, Commissioner O'Neill said that. And I think that's what you're seeing. But I think that if you read the full 46-page decision, there's not a lot of doubt that he had to make the decision that he did.
Mark Peters, our urban affairs expert, thank you so much for coming in.
Good to be here.
Okay, thank you. And we will continue to follow this story on CBSN New York and on our website, cbsnewyork.com.